are the planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for this upcoming week of March 12th through the 18th. And this week, I tell you what, I knew right out the gate this thing was going to be called Walk the Line, because this is such a powerful, interesting week in the universe that all centers around the boundaries that we set in our lives with ourselves, with other people, with the spiritual realm, with all sorts of things, right? And this is a week where those things come to the forefront. And I have been feeling it coming because I've talked about it so much with clients. I tell you what, in the past couple of weeks, and I think that the extremely intense full moon cycle and eclipse cycle that we had at the beginning of this year in January and early February made it very known where things have to change in our life, right? And when we go into a new moon cycle like this one, this is the last new moon that we have for this astrological year. The new astrological year starts when we go into the spring equinox on March 20th. So it's coming up super, super soon, where right now where we're at is like New Year's Eve again. We're ready to make resolutions. And the past couple of cycles of the moon have shown extremely, very strongly where these resolutions need to be made. And ironically, they have this underlying tone of setting better lines in the sand with what is acceptable for you and what is not. So here we go. This week, we have a lot of energy really reinforcing that and bringing that to light and making it known that this is going to be a major resolution for you in the upcoming astrological year. Manifesting what we want. That's what 2018 is. Healing from the past craziness that the past couple of years have been, and really moving forward into transformation and healing, but also manifesting it into form. Thinking about what you want and making it tangibly happen. Where do I want to start? Do I want to start explaining the new moon, or do I want to go back into Venus? Well, let's just start with Venus in Aries squaring off with Saturn in the sky, because that starts at the beginning of the week. That starts on Tuesday the 13th, and it leads up and it kind of sets the pavement, or the foundation, I suppose you could say, for the remainder of the energy of this week, which really is going to be testing you on how well you're going to stick to those boundaries that you set for yourself. Because when we don't have healthy boundaries, we give away too much of ourselves. We let the energy and emotions and memories, I suppose you could say also as well, of other people from their energetic field into ours. And then we carry that. We carry that out of empathy for them so that they don't have to feel the pain. We carry it on for them, right? And then all of a sudden it's just like, ugh. Man, I wish I would have just told you, no, I don't want to do this or do that or whatever. They're taking something and they're putting it onto you by going over those boundaries. Oh, I don't have the time for this. Oh, I need you to do that report, Carol. Oh, honey, I need you to pick the kids up, and I need you to wash the dog, and I need you to get the groceries, or, you know, kids that are constantly demanding of you, bosses, whatever it is. There's these things where we have to know where to say no, and a lot of times that comes from a lack of confidence in ourselves, saying, oh my gosh, I'm totally going to hurt their feelings if I say no, because they're depending on me so much. But this is a week where it brings it down to the forefront. Is this something that they can really do themselves? Yes. But how much more of yourself can you give? How much more of yourself can you sacrifice? How much more of your morals can you let go of, or whatever it is, these things that we let go as we let those walls of boundaries down. And when Venus out there this week, Venus is focused on harmony and balance, okay? And Venus right now is in the sign of Aries. Now, Aries don't like no boundaries, I tell you what. But Aries is that warrior that doesn't like anybody pushing it around, and it will stand up for itself. That's where our internal warrior comes from, is from Mars. Mars ruled Aries, right? That inner warrior that comes out. So keep that in mind as we're thinking the planet of love and beauty. Venus is in that right now. And this week it's trucking along in the universe, and then all of a sudden it makes this connection with that slow-moving, lesson-filled karmic Saturn out there in the universe. And the two square off. And what Saturn is those boundaries. It's like the nemesis to Mars ruled Aries. Because Saturn sets the rules, Saturn sets those limits, and Mars don't like them, and it will blaze through them, and it will stand up against them, and it will say, I don't like that. Foot on the gas, foot on the brake. That's kind of that feeling that we also have this week as well, as these two kind of go against each other. But with it, it brings into focus where we don't stand up for those boundaries and where that might need to change. Now, other areas too as this happens, because Saturn's about our accountability. It's about the responsibilities that we do have, not just boundaries, but it's all the responsibilities that get put on to us. Now, if there are areas that have to do with money and love, because that's what Venus is about, this week when the two planets square off, it's going to bring that to the forefront. It's going to bring it into focus. So we are going to be very much focused on that, on seeing those responsibilities that we have, and where the Mars may have gotten the better of us, because Mars is the warrior, and it doesn't necessarily want to plan. It just wants to act on what its internal nudgings say to do, right? But a lot of times it'll just act on that natural warrior impulse, and that can get it into trouble, right, when you act before you think. And if Saturn comes around this week and squares up with that, it may say, okay, let's take some accountability for some of our actions that may have been impulsive, especially in love and money. Right? This is a week where that comes back. But if this is a week where you've set poor boundaries in those areas as well, it's also going to make it self-known. But for all of these, there's a wonderful window to make changes in that. And that is because we have Jupiter working with the Pisces sun out there this week as well. Just before this new moon that happens on Saturday, that Pisces new moon that's all about our intuition and our empathy and our how much we're seeing inside of ourselves, right? That's a huge thing. If we're seeing that we want some changes, this is the week to do it, because Jupiter's out there making sure that not only we have the luck, but we also have the opportunities to really make these changes happen. Now, Pisces, I tell you what, here we go into this Pisces new moon that happens on Saturday. And Pisces in astrology rules the feet, because it's the very last sign in the zodiac. And you start at Aries at the top, that represents the head, and you go all the way to the very last sign, which is Pisces, and that is the feet. So this is a week where we are putting our foot, Pisces, down on how much of ourself, of those boundaries that we are dissolving and letting down for others, in terms of taking on their pain, taking on their work, taking on their responsibilities, right? Because that's what Saturn out there squaring up with it, making everybody more accountable for their actions and their responsibilities and what they're supposed to be doing. So Pisces in the feet step on that line, and they say, this is where the line in the sand is going to be. This is where it needs to change. This is where I need to follow what my internal self is saying and turn it into physical reality, because that's what's going to make you feel better on all different levels. Are you feeling exhausted? Are you feeling worn out? Are you feeling sick? You could be letting too much of those boundaries get taken over and trampled on. And if you haven't been hip to it, this week will make it known. I can guarantee you that. But it's okay. It's a beautiful thing, right? Because it's healthy to have good boundaries. And I'm going to post a really cool article that goes into detail more on how to set those things and how important those boundaries are for us. But the Pisces new moon, okay, Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is the deep feeler. Neptune is the one that sees through the cloud of deception. So this week, it helps us to kind of see through those areas on the intentions of others and where they cross over those lines, to the point where we may become victimized or taken advantage of because of how much we will take on for other people. And the scales need to be balanced, because if they aren't, then your health starts to get affected. And that in itself is kind of the medicine also that the universe prescribes on how to fight that. Taking time for yourself, focusing on the opposite end of what Pisces is, and its opposing sign is Virgo. Virgo is very much concerned with physical, tangible health and the body, and our work and our daily lives and the regimens and daily routines that we have. If you are finding that boundaries are totally out of whack with people, if you're finding that your empathic shield is down, your aura is down, this is a time where the way to strengthen that, of course, is through meditation and reflection and such. But when you're doing physical activity, when you're exercising, when you're taking care of yourself, when you're taking better care of your body by eating better, starting a new regimen of any kind, adhering to some kind of new daily routine, it ultimately balances where that Pisces empathy and giving and sensitivity, it will balance it out. It totally will. So this is a good week for that, right? Focusing on those areas. If there's something that you want to do in terms of changing your health, changing your body, how you take care of yourself, perfect energy out there to do it this week, I tell you. Let's pull some cards, right? Like we do every week. I have pulled the stone ahead of time. I've pulled the stone, Green Aventurine. And I tell you what, this is a beautiful stone for balancing those emotions and making sure that we're not taking on the toxic energies of others, especially when it comes through forms of communication like social media and things like that too, where it attacks our energetic fields in different ways. This is a stone that will strengthen your energy and help it so that it removes the toxic energies of others from your electromagnetic field. Beautiful, beautiful. But it's also Archangel Sandalphon, who is the angel of Pisces energy. Now, he is the angel that helps through music. He is the angel that is the music therapist, and he knows that there are so many messages and uplifting energies that come through music that radiate through our energetic field as well. That is another way of healing these things within ourselves. He also tells us this week that a lot of ways to remove this energy that's built up from others that helps us better stand up for ourselves, right? Because that's what good old Venus and Aries squaring off with Saturn out there in the sky is doing. It's giving us that confidence and ability to say, this is where my line is, and I'm sorry, whoever, this is where you're going to have to stay because it's for my own better health. We also have that confidence too that can be clouded, and he is the angel that comes through and clears that away, helps make sure that we hear things correctly. He removes all the energies of others. And this week he tells us, listen to some music. Focus on the feet, because that's where a lot of energy accumulates, and there's so much reality to be said in reflexology and foot, like the map of the foot and how every little piece of the foot affects a part of the body and all these things. There is a reason. You know, our feet are what keep us anchored into the ground, and they soak up a lot of energies of everybody else around us, and they get stuck in there too. So maybe this is a week where it's great to take yourself for a pedicure. It's good to have some sort of foot massage, foot detox bath, those foot peeling treatments. A good friend of mine is talking about one of those vibration plates that you can put under your feet, and it helps to remove toxic energies from your system as well. Those foot detox pads. Great time to just try it this week and see how much that helps you to be able to have that inner warrior stand up when it needs to, right? Because that's what we're trying to bring out. And Archangel Sandalphon helps with that as well. He's also the angel that takes our prayers from earth and takes them on up to heaven and brings the answers back down for us here as a result. So if you feel like your prayers aren't being heard, he's going to come through He helps strengthen your spiritual bond. He brings answers in our dreams. Pisces is about dreams, both the ones that we have at night and the ones that we have during the day, where we dream for bigger things in our lives. And this is a year, an 11-year in numerology, where we can really get what it is we want, as long as we're manifesting what it is with good intention, right? Let's think about what we do want and not about what we don't. So he's the angel around this week. Let's see what the message is that comes through that. All right. I feel like I have to do it 3 more times. There we go. Justice card. Ooh, talk about fair things, huh? Talk about things being fair. I tell you what, this is, and I was going to say too, I think this week is going to be a lot of where those boundaries issue come out at are in relationship. Remember, because we were talking about how it deals with the heart center and Venus squaring off with Saturn. The opposing and that balance, right? The counterbalance that comes to Aries is Libra, which is the scales, but it's very much focused on the relationships, the one-on-one relationships that we have with others. Definitely a week where that comes into focus, and if these things are truly fair. And that is what Sandalphon is saying too. Are you giving too much? Or maybe on the flip side of it, maybe you're not giving enough and you're always receiving, and things are constantly out of whack for you. Maybe it's time that you give of yourself in different ways. Whatever, the universe is going to help make it known. But this is a card of fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right and stand up for yourself and your beliefs. It's totally okay. Because when the scales are tipped and out of balance, it ain't good because you're out of balance as well. So that's definitely a sign coming through from Sandalphon now. And I'm also going to pull one of my chakra cards that go with this as well. Get a little bit more info on that. And maybe a certain chakra point where those toxic energies of others get buried and stuck, and maybe where we need to ask for a little bit of extra help this week in removing those, because they certainly will go. Yep, this is it. I can feel it. Ooh, impasse. Isn't that interesting? Sacral, not sacral, I'm sorry. Yeah, sacral. Yeah, sacral chakra. So this is the second chakra in the system, and that's where all of our fear lies. That's where our addictions lie, too. If this is something where that boundary isn't necessarily set with somebody else, it's one that you set for yourself and adhere to it. Know that the universe is behind you this week as well, especially if you're at a point where you're at an impasse and you're like, I don't know what to do anymore with this. And you fill in the blank, okay? That could be any boundary. I have reached this point where I know I have to make a decision, or the universe is going to make it for me. This is a week where you have a lot of angels around helping you to do that, helping you to set better limits for yourself, helping you to set better ones with others, and help give you the insight on which way is the best way to go. Especially if this is something where you have to choose between a couple of things in order to make room for these major changes that are coming in life. But where those energies of others and fear and addiction and constantly going back into the same cycles again and again, that lives in our sacral chakra. And that is, where am I going to say that would be at? Pretty much in between the belly button and the tailbone, in that area, in that quadrant, in that area. That's where our sacral chakra lives. So if you find that you're having lower back pains, issues like that, that's because the sacral chakra is out of whack, Jack. So ask for the angels this week to help remove any energies that you have built up there or others have built up there, and know that they're working with you to make sure that you will be working freely, having good, healthy boundaries for yourself and others, and reaping the benefits under this intensely healing and transformational year that's ahead. So have a wonderful week, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye.